What's up, guys? Jamie here, and welcome to episode 20 of No Turning Back. I'm sorry we haven't done this in like a month and a half, but we've been busy, like actually really busy. I've been busy with school, which everyone knows how great school is. And we've just been wanting to do other videos, and we never said it would be like a weekly thing, but we would do it. And there's really, at the time, nothing to talk about, but now we want to come and do predictions. And as always, I'm here with my co-host. But before I introduce my co-host, I've been going to a lot of wrestling events. I went to WWE on March 25th, and I just went to Monday Night Raw this past Monday on April 25th. So both of my experience videos will be up. My experience video on March 25th is already up, so I'll put an annotation. And when I'm done editing and uploading my Monday Night Raw video, I will also upload that and put it in an annotation. Link will be in the description and in any caption or whatever on this video. So anyway, take it over to Raz. You can introduce yourself or say whatever you want, even though I already said your name. But
hey, what's up, everybody? Razman's Reality's here, and yeah, Jimmy said everything as to where the show has been. But man, since the last time we did a show, the landscape of the product certainly has changed. So we have a lot to cover.
It was good. Sorry to interrupt you. It was good. It was really fun live when I went on Monday, but before that, it had 3 like solid weeks of, I would think, the product, and it always gets good before WrestleMania and right after. But when we immediately stopped, there wasn't really anything to talk about, even though there was stuff going on. But Raz, you can continue what you were saying.
I was just saying how much the product has really changed. I mean, we're sitting there speculating how, what's going to happen after Mania, and then over the last 3 weeks, Shane McMahon has stayed around and quote unquote run Raw, and basically the quote unquote main roster on SmackDown have become 2 other versions of NXT. It's like you get NXT 3 times a week now. And it's in terms of this is the product we want to see, these are the guys and girls we want to see get pushed. So I'm really happy, and I hope it doesn't change, but as we get into Payback, of course, we can speculate on that because there's something happening at Payback that could change it. But
Exactly. And you know what? It's actually not really too predictable, this card.
No, it isn't.
Besides Roman's match, but besides Reigns' match, that's the only thing that's really predictable. So I'm just looking up the card, but anything you want to add about like what's been happening or speculate a little bit on what might happen?
The biggest surprise to me has been Natalya's push. The fact that Natalya was the first person to challenge Charlotte and not Sasha Banks or Becky Lynch. It tells me that there's a long-term plan to truly make the women's division relevant. Yes, I just said women's division. In case you've been living under a rock, it's the women's division now. So
yeah, it's not the Divas division, it's the women's division. And it's not even the Divas title anymore, it's the women's title,
And they've even gotten rid of the word completely. All the women are under just the superstar section on WB.com. And then there's no more Total Divas. It's just going to be Total Bellas now, which I'm not entirely sold on. But the point is WWE is actually listening to us, and they didn't have, a title that everybody hated and a word that people didn't like the association with. So that's a huge change, and Talya's not sitting on the sidelines anymore, which is fantastic.
Thank goodness. I'm so happy to be seeing her so much. She's been wrestling like every single week, which has been phenomenal, and I saw her twice. I am very, very happy with that. I love her so much. Anyways, I have the card now, so you want me to save the certain matches for the end, or just go down the line, or I'll start from the bottom up?
It doesn't matter, however you think is easiest to do it. I'm cool.
All right, so So I guess I'll start off with the pre-show, which I feel so bad when they announced that. When they announced this match on the pre-show, and I could hear the disappointment in the crowd. Like I heard a couple people go, "Why is he on it again? He's quite talented." Like they were pretty angry about, which I just said, Kalisto. So the U.S. Championship match, Kalisto versus Ryback. Well, that's what they announced it on the when I was there live, but it says the kickoff match, which I I feel really bad for Kalisto because he always gets thrown onto like the pre-show match when he really doesn't deserve that. Like he can put on some talented matches, but I'm also gonna get the link. So do you want to say anything, or is this like a definite like who's gonna win?
I, you know, I want Kalisto to stay champion. We all do. But I just have a feeling WWE has some kind of plan for Ryback because they keep making this match. I'm picking Ryback to take this title. It's unfortunate, but it's just reality.
You know,
No pun intended with my username. But
besides, like we were saying, the card is actually really quite unpredictable, and Raz and I haven't been the only ones saying this. But a lot of the card has been quite unpredictable, and honestly, some of these could really go either way. But I, like Raz was saying, I really, really, really want Kalisto to win, and I hope he wins. He deserves to stay champion. He doesn't deserve to be thrown at the sideline because he's actually really talented. And I would hate to see him lose the title after he's had, some momentum. I could see them doing that with Ryback because that's how WWE is, and they're, for some reason, always been so high on Ryback. I could see them wanting to give him the title. But I think I'm going to choose Kalisto, though.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be surprised, though, if Ryback won, because
you
know how they are.
No, I wouldn't be surprised either, and that's why I went the other way. But believe me, this is the prediction I would be happy to get wrong. Happy.
That's exactly how not at some of the other pay-per-views where I was very happy that most of the predictions were wrong and that it was the other way around. But yes. Okay, so whoops, I didn't mean to do that with the card. Okay, so all right, I'm going to go with Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin, your BFF. Baron's your BFF.
He is. That's a thing from a few episodes back with Alex where he knows I can't stand the Baron Corbin character and insisted that he's my best friend. And so, yeah.
We both insisted that he was your best friend. Yes, I said it, and then we all joined in on saying that he's your best friend.
Exactly.
And now whenever he comes out, everybody on Twitter says he's your best friend.
Yep. I still can't stand his character, but you know what I've come to realize is that makes me actually admire him. Because how many guys are true heels in WWE?
Exactly.
He's really doing his job really well, and he will go over in this match and look dominant doing it. Which the only problem I have with that is Dolph Ziggler. Why does Dolph Ziggler continue to get the shaft all the time?
True.
What happened to his push? He's obscure now and irrelevant. But I'm sorry that I keep looking down. I sent out the link and I accidentally put an extra letter in front of it, so I have to delete the tweet and resend it so people can actually click on the link. That's why I'm looking down, back and forth. People, but yeah, that's my feelings on that. Just a classic annoying heel character that will be dominant for a long time to come because he's a big guy that's going to be a champion. And at least I'd much rather see him who can really go in the ring over a guy like Braun Strowman who can't.
That's true.
So
were you done?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Okay, so I would like for your best friend to win, which he probably will, but not at like Dolph Ziggler's expense. Like he's quite talented, Dolph Ziggler, and it's a shame at the way he's been treated. He's always been treated. But I'm going to go with your BFF. And actually, I really like him as a heel. I think he plays such a good heel. Like, it's kind of growing on me because he's such a, like, he's one of those, like, bad butt heels. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like he gets underneath your skin. You literally want to punch the screen.
right.
But he's like one of those cocky, bad butt type of heels, and it works for him because he has that look too. That, like, sly, get on your nerves type of heel. And it works very well for him. Which he kind of, like, I know you don't like him because he's such a good heel, but that's actually starting to grow on me, and I actually think he's actually pretty great, and I definitely could see him going after a title. I wouldn't really even mind that because he can wrestle and he plays a good character. So, but I wish it was somebody we didn't care about facing Baron, but then it would be a match on the card that would just be a throwaway. But what I do like about this match is Ziggler is a talented wrestler as well, and so is your BFF. That's all I'm gonna call him. But and it'll be just a good one-on-one, like, wrestling match. So that's the good part of it, that we'll get a good singles match between these two. It'll be just straight up wrestling, but not, I feel like, not at Dolph Ziggler's expense when he's gonna lose. Because they're high on Baron right now. So.
Well, I agree completely with that. I think this is the best, lengthwise that we've ever seen Baron Corbin, because Dolph and Ziggler can go, and they're not going to have Dolph Ziggler just go out there and get beat up. So it's really going to show, how long Baron Corbin can last, the kind of psychology he can tell. If you saw the match between him and Apollo Crews, and Apollo's one of his last matches in NXT, then you know what I'm talking about. Baron Corbin can actually wrestle, and Dolph Ziggler's a good guy to highlight that. So, the more I talk about Corbin, I sound like a fan, and it just goes to show that when a heel really gets under your skin, you have to appreciate it. You can't hate it. I hate the character because that's the job of the character, is to make you hate it. When the character goes out there and says, I don't need to be like the rest of these guys that, paid their dues. I was in the NFL, give me the world. You're supposed to not like that. So he's just doing his job. But as far as the talent goes, I think sky's the limit for Baron Corbin. So.
Exactly. He's new. You know what I mean? New where he can go to heights. He hasn't done everything yet.
Exactly.
But yeah, anyways, we will. Do you want to say anything else? But, I think you have, like, a love-hate relationship with him. Like, you cannot, like, you hate his character. Like, you cannot stand him, but then you like him at the same time. Right. But you don't want to like him because you hate him.
Right, exactly. That's exactly.
Like, I like Baron, but I don't want to like him.
That's exactly it. Yeah. And I will say that him winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal back at WrestleMania was a huge surprise. It
was a nice surprise, to be quite honest. Like, I thought it was Big Show, or, we were thinking Braun Strowman. I thought it would be Big Show again, or somebody nobody gives a crap about. But no, it ended up being somebody pretty relevant, so it was nice to change.
Yeah, so that's...
Did I take the words out of your mouth, or did you want to add anything?
Yeah, well, that's why I just say yeah, because I have nothing else to add. But we just spend too much time together. We can literally think like the other person.
Okay.
So.
IC Championship match: The Miz versus Cesaro. Go.
This one's really interesting because, number one, why they do that to poor Zack Ryder? If you know you're going to have a plan for The Miz and bring back Maurice and start a whole new character, fine, great, I love it. I love seeing Maurice back. They're annoying heels. They get under your skin. Everything we just said, Baron Corbin's doing that. Miz is doing that too. But why not just start it at WrestleMania? Why did you have to have a transfer champion? It's a ladder match, so it's not like you're hurting KO by having a heel take the championship off another heel. So I don't really understand that aspect of the booking. That being said, I think there's a plan here. I like the Miz character, but at the same time, everyone was clamoring so hard for Cesaro to come back. And he is back now, and he is so over. He got one of the largest pops on Monday, which you can attest to better than me because you were actually there.
Yes, he did.
Is tremendously over. So the crowd wants him to win. I want him to win. I want to predict him just because I want them to go somewhere with him. But it's one of those things where it's the opposite of what you said about the pre-show match. Like I'm predicting Cesaro because it's what I want, but I would not put it past WWE at all to go the other way.
Oh, I wouldn't either. I think this is one of those matches where it's like 50-50 almost because poor Zack Ryder, you know, finally think he's getting a push and then he loses it not even like that long later. He lost it the next night, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
So they did that with other wrestlers, but we're not going to get that. That was a huge explosion at the time when it happened. I think you're knowing the certain wrestler that I'm talking about starts with a C. But
yes.
So anyways, I feel bad for Zack Ryder, but then at the same time, I'm kind of happy for The Miz because he's quite underappreciated, and he's actually not bad at all. And he plays a good heel. The character he's playing is a little bit annoying, but I mean, he is a heel. But he honestly plays a really good annoying heel that, like, every time you come out, you're like, oh my gosh, shut up. Like, but I want Miz to kind of stay the stage champion because I feel like it'll help him. But then at the same time, Cesaro is so over. I just want Cesaro to come back with a huge comeback and win the IC title because he's so over and he deserves it. Like, both guys deserve it. But, you know, I love Cesaro more, so I'm rooting more towards Cesaro. This is where I wish, like, both of them could have the title, but more of Cesaro. So I wouldn't be surprised if The Miz retained and then they continued the feud and Cesaro won it at a later pay-per-view, but I'm really hoping it's Cesaro. So,
right.
But yeah, I don't know if you heard, not you specifically, but the audience heard what I was saying because of the phone, which, you know, and it's not really a big deal, but I'm just going to say it again. I could see where they would let The Miz win by, like, Maurice interrupting or something and screwing over Cesaro so that they can continue the feud and they'll face at the next pay-per-view and then Cesaro wins. But I really hope that Cesaro just wins. I don't know if you agree with that or what you think is going to happen because Maurice has interrupted before, so
I do agree with that, and you pretty much, once again, took the words right out of my mouth, and I apologize. I had the phone on purpose to do the promotion, and then, of course, you leave it on, and someone has to interrupt. So it's now officially turned off, so we get no further interruptions. I don't have headphones because with my physical situation, headphones for the phone don't work good. I mean, I do have them, but they're packed away, and they're actually going to a friend, but that's a whole other side tangent that has nothing to do with anything. But point I was trying to make is this is why Jamie and I are tag team partners and best friends, because we think so similarly. So everything she said is what I would have said about it. So if Miz goes over, that will be the reason. But again, I'm picking Cesaro just out of hope.
Yeah, I could definitely see Miz winning and then Cesaro getting a shot at the next pay-per-view or whatever. Or Cesaro's supposed to win, but, you know, he gets screwed over because Maurice interrupts and Miz is like, see, I could, you know, he'll get really cocky after the pay-per-view, but because he's just that typical heel. But anyways, the next match that I will say is... I'm thinking, who should I... Did you hear that, guys? Wanda said that's who I should go with next.
Wanda was picking the next point.
So, okay, so Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens?
Oh, man. Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
This is the one that everybody pretty much probably knew that's longtime fans of the show that I would have a lot to say about. If you've never seen this feud before, if for some reason you've never watched any of the indie promotions, you weren't a big fan of NXT or just didn't have the time like my partner here does, she doesn't have a lot of time all the time to actually sit down and watch the NXT product. So if you just watch on Mondays, Thursdays, and pay-per-views, you're in for the biggest treat of your life. These two know how to tell a story together better than anybody I've seen in the last 15 years. They because they have the personal history of being real life best friends, and you can put them as enemies and you can tell a story about them betraying each other that makes complete and total sense. There's nothing about it that does not work, and they are going to let out so much emotion and they are going to tear each other apart. And the good news is, I don't think it's going to be the last match. I think we're going to get at least one more before Money in the Bank happens, and probably Kevin Owens going on to a Money in the Bank picture. But that's later on down the line. But I think this will be the first match of at least 2, maybe 3, if we're lucky. I think it's going to be a tremendous match. I'm going to pick Sammy to go over in this one because I think it's going to be the first match of 2 or 3. But it also could go the other way. And either way it goes, it's going to help both guys. Because neither guy can move forward until they close this chapter on each other.
Right.
So I like everything about the way they've been booking it. I like the fact that they saved it for Payback and didn't rush it on WrestleMania and let the quote-unquote main roster crowd get used to Sami Zayn. Like, I have no objections here at all to anything that's happening.
I don't care who wins because I love both of them very much. If Sammy goes over, great. If Kevin Owens goes over, great. But I could see Sammy winning to like continue the feud because I feel like if Kevin wins, then that's like a you know what I mean? Like that's like the feud is finished.
Right.
But if Sammy goes over, then it'll kind of continue one more time.
Exactly.
However many times they decide. I've seen some of the stuff in NXT. I just don't watch it the day of. But I know that they've put on tremendous matches, and I can't wait to see it. It's another match that will just be pure, like, wrestling, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Along with tearing each other apart. Like, I would not be surprised.
Oh, definitely.
I would not be surprised at all if there's blood in this match.
That'll be phenomenal. We don't always get blood, but I would be very happy with that. This probably will be the best, one of the best, or if not the best match on the card.
It'll be the best match on the card simply because, as good as AJ is, he can't get rid of Roman's problems. But that's for later on.
That is for a whole nother rant down later in the show. But anyways, we're gonna get on to the next, which I want to go first on this one.
Yes.
Enzo. Okay. What? Okay. There. Enzo and Cass versus the Vaudevillains for to become the number 1 contender. And can I just say, when I was there live, the Vaudevillains, Enzo and Cass, and the New Day all together was absolutely amazing. Especially Enzo and Cass and the New Day on the mic together. That was brilliant. Brilliant. I honestly don't. This is one of those things where I want both to win, but I'd rather have Enzo and Cass win. But like Enzo and Cass and the New Day are both faces, and I don't know if they necessarily would have face versus face. But sometimes in WWE, they don't really care for like heel and face too much anymore. But this is one of these matches where like I don't want anybody to lose. And so when they go to face the New Day, I don't want anybody to lose, which obviously there has to be a winner and a loser. So I don't know. What would you like to say?
Pretty much that. But as far as a prediction goes, I almost have to go with the Vaudevillains simply because I don't think now is the point in time when they want to take the titles off the New Day. I think they're waiting to put Enzo and Cass will be the next champions, but I think they're waiting to make that happen when they have some kind of definitive thing that says, okay, this is what New Day is doing without the titles, and this is how New Day is still going to be the New Day and be as huge as they are without having the tag team titles. And I don't know if they're there yet, unless they decide to make it the New Day versus the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson, right away.
True. This is what. Sorry.
If they do that right away, if they go straight into that feud, then obviously New Day will not have the tag team title because the Good Brothers aren't going to immediately be a heel tag team champions because we've already had New Day as heels for most of their reign as champions. So Enzo and Cass will win the titles before the Good Brothers do. So it just all depends on where WWE wants to go, but I'm going to go with the Vaudevillains because I think we're going to probably get at least 1 to 2 more months of New Day as tag team champions. But Enzo and Cass should win. They deserve the WWE Tag Team Championship, specifically because they got called up before they could ever get the NXT Tag Team Championship because they didn't really need them because they were so over and the crowd loves them. So the crowd definitely is not going to reject Enzo and Cass being tag team champions eventually. So it's just really a toss-up depending on what WWE wants to do going forward with the New Day.
Yeah. I can't see New Day losing the titles just yet. I could see them. I couldn't see them holding on all the way until the end of next year, but I could, this year. I mean, but I could see them losing it towards like the summer. What I was gonna say, and what I already pretty much said towards the beginning, is that like I can't see Enzo and Cass going over simply because of like I don't think they would do, like I just said, they can't. I don't think they would do the face versus face thing, and so that's why I would say Vaudevillains would go over, and then, which I also tweeted on Twitter about 2 weeks ago, I think, when about all of them. I think it was the April 18th Raw that I tweeted out. But anyway, where I said that I could see Enzo and Cass not going over, and then the Vaudevillains face the New Day, and then the New Day still retains, and then like Enzo and Cass and the New Day feuding sometime after. But it's like one of those, like we were even talking about before, like I don't want anybody to lose because they're all great.
Right.
And like I want Enzo and Cass to win, but then I don't want the Vaudevillains to lose. At the same time, I want Enzo and Cass to be able to have that opportunity, like you were saying. It's just I'm so torn between all of them. It's not what we want. It's what WWE wants. Like I'm so torn between everybody, but it all depends on how it goes down.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly what I was saying too. Is Enzo and Cass will get their tag team championships. It's just a matter of when WWE wants them to happen.
Yeah, like prediction wise, Vaudevillains, and then the New Day will probably retain. Our heart wise, we want nobody to lose. But obviously, like I was saying before Raz was talking, you have to have a winner and a loser. So
yes,
someone's got to lose, someone's got to win, sadly.
Exactly. So we're picking Vaudevillains simply because we don't think New Day's reign is over. But if it goes the other way,
and no face versus face. I mean, regardless of how it goes, I'll be very happy, but sad at the same time because, like we were saying, we don't want anybody to lose.
Right.
So. And I love the New Day. I love the New Day. I don't want them to ever lose the titles, but at the same time, like, they have to eventually,
But they're strong enough now.
I know, but, like, I love them, and I don't want them to lose their titles. But then I want the other two to win. But then I'm tearing out myself again because I love the New Day, so.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say what I've already said, which is the New Day is strong enough now. They don't need the titles. So it's just a matter of when WWE wants to take it off of them.
Exactly. And it'll be a great match because they're great tag team, both of them. And especially New Day is a great tag team too. Also, the mic skills on all of them is just great, especially when Enzo and Cass and the New Day were both going at it. They're so good on the mic. I don't know if you agree with me on that, but they're so
Oh,
entertaining. That was the most entertaining thing I've ever seen live. That was so entertaining.
oh, I'm
All of
sure,
it.
and the crowd on Monday night was so huge into it. I said it to you, not just because you were there. That's the loudest I've heard the SAWFT part of the end zone cash stick since they quote unquote moved up. I've never heard it that loud, that portion of it before.
Exactly. I mean,
As it
the New
was.
Day's been over. Like anything that they say, the fans repeat. So I was doing that, and then Enzo and Cass, I was, chanting along to what they were saying. But anyway, before we go on too much of a tangent, Raz and I could talk for hours on about them. But
Yes, we could, but
anyways,
we don't have hours for the show. So
no. Okay, so the next match, I'm going to say, I'm kind of going all over the place with this, but that is okay. So I'm going to say the Women's Championship, Charlotte versus Natalia, which before you say it, can I just say, which we pretty much said at the beginning when we were trying to get ourselves settled, is I am so happy Natalia is getting so much airtime. I mean, for a while we were saying like, "Where's Natty? We want to see her." She was like maybe on screen once or twice, or at some house shows. Before she was making a lot of like appearances. I saw her August 21st, and she was a special guest referee for for the women's match, and I was so happy to see her because we hadn't seen her in a while. And I'm also glad she's getting title shots, even though she's probably not going to win. I hope down the line she will be able to win, but I'm really glad she is getting the title shots. So, what do you have to say about the match? Which I love, Natty, by the way. My God.
this is why I'm totally teasing you right now. You know that, but this is why I can never let you go first. Because when you go first, I have nothing left to say.
True, and then for me, when you talk first, sometimes I'm repeating what you say, or I just add to it. But go ahead.
But yeah, just to add to what she was saying or tried to, the only issue here with Natty's push is everybody knows that Sasha Banks is WWE's next big plan. Everybody knows that. So for anybody else to win the women's championship right now would be just like a what the heck just happened kind of a moment, which in a way would be good because then it would throw another wrench into the mix and you'd think, okay, well, which, yeah, you would think, okay, well, what are they doing here? If they just, gave the title to Natalia, where's Sasha, where's Becky, where's Paige, And that's the biggest problem with the women's division right now. And it's again, we say this on almost every No Turning Back. This is how different the product is now compared to 3 or 4 years ago. There are so many talented female wrestlers in the company that you don't have enough airtime for them. So this is why I keep going back to a women's tag team championship. If there was a women's tag team championship, you could have like Natty and Paige or Natty and Lana or, whatever combo they want to use, Natty and Becky, which we've seen before. You could have those two as tag team champions while 2 other girls are feuding over the main championship. And that's what I think WWE should do so that you're not in a situation where there's only 3 girls going over as far as championship picture, and you're looking at the rest of them like, well, what happens to them? They're getting screwed.
Exactly. You pretty much, what you and I have been talking about off camera about that, but also they could do like, remember we were talking about like a divas, or we don't use divas anymore, women's like Royal Rumble type of thing. It would be good because all would be involved in a relevant and a good and high match, and no one would be necessarily left out. Like everyone would be able to get the chance. And then after whoever would win, the main girls can go on that way, and then the other girls can go after the tag titles. So that way everyone would be able to be involved and then go on their separate ways.
Exactly.
You do too.
But yeah, as far as the actual match goes, Charlotte retains here because having Natty go over is silly as this sounds right now, having Natty go over would be too obvious because everybody thinks, oh, Bret Hart's there to counteract Ric Flair, so there's no way Charlotte retains. And therefore, WWE has to go the opposite way. They can't make it obvious. Charlotte's going to find another way to retain.
Exactly. At the same time, I'm kind of mad, though, because I want her to win. But like we were just saying, like Sasha Banks is next, but we also want Natalya to win it. But then when Natalya has it, we don't want her to get overshadowed by Sasha Banks, you know. If Natty, when she has her time, we want her to have a good title reign, and we don't want her to be overshadowed by anything else. So I think her winning would be a wonderful surprise. I would be screaming of happiness if that happens, which we will be reacting to Payback this Sunday.
Yes.
But plug there. I would be screaming happiness, but at the same time, I would kind of be a little bit sad because I don't think right after, I think Natty wouldn't really have a very long title reign. Sasha would probably take it right away. So I would both be happy, but at the same time, I would be a little bit sad because I wouldn't want her to get overshadowed if she were to win it, you know. But at the same time, I don't want her to lose because she's had so many shots and she's lost them all. So maybe after, you know, they're done with this feud, Sasha wins, and then down the line, Natty can have her moment. But if they were to, it would be cool to see Natty versus Sasha Banks, you know.
And I still
there's so many. Before you say anything, there's so many different directions to go in with
exactly there is, because there's still Becky Lynch who has to have her time at some point. There's still Paige who can't become completely irrelevant. So
Natty, Sasha.
This is what's so intriguing about the women's division. You literally, you can go all the way through it from top to bottom and say that girl deserves a title reign. You really can.
Exactly.
There's not a single person in it that like, oh, I don't want to see her champion.
Exactly. So, what did you think about me saying like, I want Natty to win, but like she would get overshadowed though if she did win, and I don't want that to happen to her. I want her to have her time as much as I want her to win it. But go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. If Natty wins here, Natty will just be a transitional champion like Zack Ryder was.
Yeah, I don't want her to be like that. I want her to have her moment, you know, when she does win, which will be very emotional. I think I'll be bawling my eyes out and happiness. But exactly what you were saying, I couldn't think of the word, but as Raz was just saying, she would be more of transitional than a winner, and we don't want that. I don't want her to be transitional for Sasha. I'd rather have Charlotte versus Sasha again, and then have Natalya be, I mean, they're all talented, so it doesn't matter if they all face again, but I don't want Natty to get overshadowed. But sorry, continue.
Right, no, that's all I was going to say. You said everything. So.
Okie dokie. But yeah, isn't it amazing how it's all changed, though?
Yeah,
getting a little bit sidetracked.
The women's division really is the division you spend the most time talking about. Like, we could literally spend a whole other hour just talking about how they can go forward with the women's division.
Exactly, that'd be a great video.
It's just crazy. And we probably will do that video at some point, probably.
We will. Plug there, too. All right. So before we we could say a whole lot more, which there's so much direction to go in, and there's so much to talk about with those directions, but we're going to continue because there's still a couple other matches on the card. So anyways, we pretty much, oh no, we have to like 2 more matches, and then I'm saving the last part for the very end because that could go in like a billion other directions too. But okay, so Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho. Go. And this is your element. Your boys in there.
It's a dream feud between these two. Everybody knows my thing with Jericho. Everybody knows that I'm a huge Dean Ambrose fan. I've been waiting for this feud for like 10 years. This is amazing. I love everything about it. Their mic skills alone are carrying it, which is what's tremendous. It's like watching 2 genius stand-up comedians go at each other when you watch these two. And and Dean doesn't have to do too much. He just sits there and it's almost like he's saying in a way mentally, he's saying, do you see how crazy this guy is? Do you see how off the rails he is? I don't even have to say anything. You guys know this guy's crazy and narcissistic and full of himself. And so Dean just sits there and lets Jericho run his mouth, and he just says, "Yep, time to kick your ass.
Exactly.
Time to kick your butt." Sorry, kitties. Sorry about that.
I've never really heard you swear before. That's strange. Bad.
Yeah, it is. I don't normally say that at all. That's completely set out. But yeah, that's basically the vibe I get from this, and it just works. I mean, Jericho, not just because he's my favorite wrestler, but because of the reasons that he's my favorite wrestler, because of his ability to play anything and do everything. He just gives me goosebumps when he talks as a heel. Like, he could literally be cutting these heel promos and doing these heel mannerisms against a phone book. And I would be so mesmerized by it. Because there's so much believability to every action he takes. Because he literally does believe he is the greatest thing on the planet. He believes he should walk on water, and it's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I think as far as the match itself goes, I think Dean has to win here because Dean doesn't have a title right now. The Money in the Bank's a couple months off, and Kevin Owens will probably win that, at least the way it's going right now. So you got to do something to keep Dean Ambrose from becoming nothing in WWE. So I think Jericho does what Jericho has done best for a long time, except WrestleMania, which I think was literally just he deserved a win because of how much he'd been helping our product. So we're going to give you a win at WrestleMania, and it proved AJ Styles didn't need it because of what happened to AJ, which we're about to get into in a minute. So I think he went over at WrestleMania just because he deserved to go over eventually at some point. But I think he gets back to doing what he does best. I think he puts Dean over here, and I think it's a tremendous match.
I also think if Jericho loses again, it really won't hurt Jericho at all. Actually, it won't hurt Jericho at all. Jericho could lose the whole time he's here back, and it won't do anything because Jericho is such an amazing heel, and he's already so well established that it doesn't matter if Jericho loses. And I think it would hurt Dean if he lost, though. Jericho losing doesn't hurt him, but Dean losing would hurt him, I feel like. And also, Chris Jericho would just embrace that he lost. He would throw a fit, and he's done it before when he's lost, and it was the greatest fit I've ever seen in my life. He's hysterical. And like you were saying, the two of them together is gold. Jericho is just, I'm not saying that because of you, is an amazing heel. He's not only a cocky, whiny, a hilarious heel, he's just perfect, and he's funny, and he can wrestle. Then Dean, on the other hand, he's hysterical. Like, he's crazy, but he does such little hysterical stuff, and it gets on Jericho's nerves, and then he acts as a heel, and it's funny. There's one time Jericho was having a fit because Dean has his own talk show, and Dean was not even concerned about anything. He was over the plant. And I just thought that was so hysterical. He was going on and on about the plant. And, just on this past Monday when I was there, the two of them going back and forth when I was there live was hysterical. Jericho was going off about being the heel, how he's the best ever, how I don't even know how much he said exactly, but his $1,000 shoes, this amount is like $750, the other shoe is $750, and then Dean was like, I'm sorry you have horrible this. I'm sorry you have horrible that. I mean, it was hilarious on Monday between the two of them. Like you were saying, the mic skills back and forth alone has just carried the feud. And then the two of them are already great wrestlers, so it'll be entertaining.
Right, they barely touch each other. It's such an old school feud. They're letting their words carry the feud so that when they go at it on Sunday, it's like smiling. It's like a powder
cake. Exactly. The only time they got physical was on Monday, pretty much. They got physical, which was great to see, by the way, live. The two of them together is just absolutely brilliant. They were going back and forth with each other. But yes, I think Dean will win. Jericho doesn't need to win. I mean, it would be great, but Chris Jericho, I can't talk, winning, or I mean losing wouldn't hurt Jericho. He could lose the whole time he's back and it wouldn't hurt him. But it would more likely hurt Dean. But anyway, we obviously are going with Dean, and we were saying that the feud is amazing. So anything else? Because that was your element there.
No, I got everything out that I can get out. I gotta save something for when the match actually happens on Sunday.
Okay. By the way, when you said they're using their words and not their hands, I automatically thought of kids, because you know how you always tell them to use their words, not their fists. That's just
exactly
random. That's what made me think of. Use your words, not your hands. But yeah. Anyways, next match, which, by the way, before we get on to the other two things, is that this card could honestly is pretty unpredictable. You know, you were even saying before we went on how we don't know how we're going to predict this card.
But I literally told her, I said, when you hit live, that'll be, and I'm talking, will be when I decide who wins these matches.
And I think he kind of decided right when we were speaking anyway, but go ahead.
No, I did. And that's what's so different about this another era that we've seen the last couple of weeks is, and what I hope continues with WWE. I don't want to watch WWE and know where it's going. I love the feeling of how it was 5, 6, 10 years ago of just, always wanting to tune into every show because you never know what's going to happen next. That's the feeling that I want to have. And I apologize because my answering machine.
Exactly, and I like exactly what you were saying. Like WrestleMania, well, not WrestleMania, but people were actually saying that this card looks a lot better than some of the other cards on WrestleMania, and I hope that I'm completely wrong. Like, I love being wrong on a pay-per-view, because it means it wasn't predictable. It was unpredictable, and I love when something's unpredictable. And I don't get when people are happy that they got everything right. I mean, you want it to be. I don't understand how you could be happy that you got everything right. Like, that totally means you know what direction it was going. And it is fun not to know something. Exactly. But anyway, I think this last match is kind of predictable. I mean, but because there's probably Raz and I are about to rant, but the World Heavyweight Championship, Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles. You touched on it a little bit in one of the other matches we were talking about.
Yeah, I was saying that, the problem with how brilliantly they're pushing AJ and shocking the world by him being in this position, you just know that he's not going to win the title because they literally just put the title on Roman Reigns. The only thing that makes this a mystery is what are the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson, going to do? Is this a reunion of the Bull Club with AJ Styles? Does Finn Balor come up and screw AJ Styles, that all four of them go together against Roman Reigns? This is what I'm predicting. It's not what I want to happen because it would absolutely diminish everything Bull Club stands for, and it would make the whole world throw up their fist in anger. But this is WWE logic that I'm talking about here, and this is what I think is going to happen. I think that the Good Brothers get involved, but I think long before we see anything relevant to Bullet Club and WWE, I think that we see Gallows Anderson side with Roman Reigns and turn on AJ Styles and probably maybe bring up a heel, at least attempt a heel Finn Balor, which I say attempt because the crowd loves him so much, but have Finn Balor come up and say, I was always better than you. That's why I took Bullet Club from you. That's why I was stronger without you. All of that. One way or another, I think Finn Balor comes up very, very soon to be associated with either 2 out of the 3 of these guys or all 3 of these guys because he just lost the NXT title to Samoa Joe. But right now, that's what my gut's telling me is that's how Roman Reigns retains these titles because Gallows and Anderson end up being his heavies until they're ready to have like AJ and Finn maybe team up against Gallows and Anderson, and then all four of them like reunite eventually at some point. That's my feeling on this. I could be way off base, but I just think that's WWE logic. And you have to have a reason for Roman Reigns to be able to retain with all of this teasing of Bullet Club. So I just think that's the reason.
I also think that the direction that WWE wants to go in, or the ending in terms of like how it's going to be booked, is going to be unpredictable, but the winner is predictable. Like, we know Roman Reigns is going over. We already know that. He's not had the title for that long, and you already know how WWE is so high on Roman Reigns and is trying to push him to the point where he's like more like they're trying to push him past being a Super Cena type of person.
Right.
So Roman Reigns is going to win. It's just the part where how are they going to go about doing all that? Like, what storylines are they going to branch off of after that? Eventually, AJ will get his title shot, I think, and that would be amazing if he won, but he's not going to.
Oh, absolutely, and if he will eventually be WWE World Heavyweight Champion at some point. But I think
it's just really nice that he's in the picture. It's just, almost kind of, I don't know what the word is for it, but like it's like kind of unpredictable that the two of them would even be in the same match, and I think that's what's kind of intriguing, that right off the bat they let him with the title. But
he's the fastest.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's the fastest rookie in terms of WWE to ever get a title shot. They actually said that on TV. He's been on WWE TV since January. He's already getting a championship match.
Exactly.
And that's never happened before. So, I would love it if Finn Balor comes up and nobody's heel. And Finn Balor just helps Gallows Anderson help AJ win the title. I would love that. Because
I would love that, but then I still think, like, they're not going to do that to Roman. Well, they could have all of them come up, but I don't think they would do that to Roman and let him lose, because you know how they're pushing him to try to be the next face of the WWE. People even booed him when he was doing stuff for Make-A-Wish. So I highly doubt they'll be trying to let him lose, because you know how stubborn they are right now with Roman Reigns. Also, I wanted to add, when you're saying about Finn being a heel, they love him, he's too over to be booed. It's kind of like with the New Day, because the New Day was trashing fans and they still got cheered. So he's one of those people that he literally could chop off your head and you would still cheer for him. But I think in terms of like who's going to win, Roman Reigns. What's going to happen during all that, unpredictable.
Do you think it's leaning toward Finn, or do you think that's just too obvious and they're gonna?
I think it could. I think it could happen, but I think because so many people are expecting it, it might not. Like, he might come on Monday or something, or he might not even come at all, and we have to wait another week or two.
Yeah, they might have for some strange reason, they might have a fourth match between him and Joe in NXT first, which would be like, why? But yeah, I think most of the speculation, not just from a logical standpoint of watching the storyline, but a lot of it also had to do with after Finn lost his NXT championship in Lowell, Massachusetts. After that event, he turned to the crowd and said, "See you Monday." So everybody's just assuming now that he is going to come up because of the words out of his own mouth. But Finn is one of those guys that has been known to troll the crowd too, and to get the crowd,
or talk in cryptic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because he did tell us that the Good Brothers were coming, that Anderson and Gallows were coming, but he told us that like 3 or 4 months before they actually showed up on TV.
Exactly. Or he could have meant he'll see fans Monday at a meet and greet, or he's backstage, or he might not even have meant that Monday. He could have meant a month from now on Monday. Like, but I am quite actually excited for this pay-per-view.
It's going to be a very it's gonna be one of the like we've said this whole time. It's just gonna be a match you get through to see. Okay, is Finn showing up? Is there
Yeah,
another guy
exactly.
showing up? Like how we just want the match to be over so we can see what their plans are down the line.
Exactly. Like I was saying, the plans are unpredictable, but the winner is Roman Reigns. You know how stubborn they are right now with Roman Reigns. I highly doubt they're going to have AJ Styles go over. I mean, the crowd's monstrously booing them and monstrously booing him, and they still try to push him being a face despite being booed with Make a Wish. Like, they still did that, and we still got booed. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. There's actually one more thing. It's not a match.
Right. I know why
Mr.
you say
McMahon, you know why I saved it for last, huh? Mr.
exactly.
McMahon will announce who controls Raw at WWE Payback. I really hope Shane stays around for a while. I'm not just talking about next month. I'm hoping for the rest of the time that he's able to stay around. He doesn't necessarily have to be in control, but I hope that he stays around. I feel like they're going to end up doing something, and I feel like this feud will still continue between them. But I could see, because I don't think they would bring him back for such a short time and then just like he disappears again. But what do you think about it?
I think Shane stays around, but I think there's also a possibility. Now, this is a very small possibility because there's a lot of things I like about this, but then there's a lot of things I don't like because I don't like. Well, I might as well. I gotta say what I'm thinking before I go off on a tangent because that would probably help. Brand split. I could see
Yeah, I was gonna say
them doing a brand split where Stephanie controls SmackDown, Shane controls Raw. The only problem with that is when they did that before, it made sense because it just came off the whole buying WCW thing. The whole we're going to use ECW superstars thing. So the roster was crowded like it is now, yes, but back then it was almost like two rosters and not one. This is literally a case of we're just going to split one roster right in half without really a logical reason. And the biggest issue I have with the brand split comes from having two sets of champions, not two mid-card champions because we're used to that. But when you have two world champions, when you have two sets of tag team champions, when you have two women's champions, it just makes you think, okay, but why am I supposed to be behind this person over here, but at the same time I'm supposed to be behind this person over here? Doesn't it lessen this person's reign over here? And I think that's what happens. When you have two sets of titles, it makes the title not seem important.
And it's kind of becomes too overcrowded with too many titles. Like there should be a certain amount so that everybody can have something to do. But not the whole roster doesn't need to be over titles. It's just certain amount of people go after the title and then certain amount of people have other feuds. Because if we're all going after the title, it's not going to be really interesting, you know?
Exactly. What I could see them doing in a way to make it work would be, yeah, this is Raw, this is Shane running Raw and Stephanie running SmackDown, but it's not a true brand split because we're not going to have two sets of championships. If they do that and they just use it to where only certain guys and girls are on SmackDown to help give them a push, then I'm fine with that. But when you start creating separate championships, that's what I don't like.
Yeah. And people were also saying this would happen because before like even WrestleMania, they thought it was a spoiler for Shane McMahon versus Undertaker. It had Raw versus WWE for one of the show names, not a whole tour, one of the show names. I don't think they still have that as the name for one of them, but they had that, so that's what people initially thought of a brand split. They could very well do that, where one runs the other, but we'll have to wait and see. I think that the feud will still continue and that Shane will still be around one way or the other, but we've, I think, been talking for an hour and 30 minutes on this thing. So anything else that you would like to add?
No, I think we need to wrap up here because I know what your schedule is, and you got to get to some things before you have problems in a minute. But Yeah, bottom line here is they did it to create intrigue, but I guess that's what we should. We've always said we're gonna start doing this on NTB, so let's just do it now. Our NTB question of the week, until next time we're on here, whether it's next week or 2 weeks or whatever, however schedule winds up being, should be if there's a brand split that comes out of Payback, how do you do it and have it make sense? That's what we want to know from you, the audience, because I think that's one of the only logical things they could do, except to have Vince turn completely face and up, say, "Nope, Stephanie, you're done. You're fired." So,
But also one thing to mention,
yeah,
the Authority is taking a long break.
they are.
So I'm wondering, like,
So I mean,
that's changing, or are they doing that behind the scenes, or
Right,
Shane's just taking over until they return, and then they have a brand split, because they're supposed to be on break, which they pretty much are. Triple H didn't show up, neither did Vince. Stephanie just kind of showed up to show up. But I wonder if Shane's going to be kind of like the substitute when they're taking a break. And then I wonder if this is a way just to write them off until they come back.
It very well could be, unless it's a situation where I was thinking maybe they decided that it's just Triple H is going to take a break, and since Stephanie doesn't really wrestle and she's just an on-air character, maybe she can do some stuff by herself, because she has done that before.
That's true. Or could they do the brand split down the line? I mean, we'll have to wait and see on Sunday. So.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on Sunday. But do you agree with what I just said there? Do you want the audience to chime in?
Oh, yeah, they could comment on that. They could comment on whatever that we said. But links are all in the description. Don't forget to check out my experience video when I went to WWE on March 25th. I am going to upload my experience video of when I went to Monday Night Raw on April 25th on Tuesday, because those tend to get views right after Raw airs, and I don't want to do it on Raw because nobody's going to watch a video when they're watching Raw. Anyways, comment down below on the question of the weekday, whatever you want to call it. Links are in the description. And, please check out my experience video, and Raz, you can
add NTBWB on Twitter. You can also talk to us about the question today, anything else on that, and also see you Sunday.
Yep, and we're doing a live reaction on Sunday, which I plugged. So, all right, bye.
Bye, everybody.